Welcome to the Activated Story Theater's 137th podcast.
This episode we bring you The Princess Who Couldn't Laugh, a story from Norway.
Hi, I'm Dennis.
And I'm Kimberly.
And together we are the Activated Actors!
We are coming to you from Needles, California.
Are you needling me?
I'm not needling you.
Needles is, I believe, the hottest town in the U.S.
I'll buy that one.
I'll buy that one, too.
It's really hot right now, and it's not even summer. We'll have to look that up, or you can look it up and let us know. We're happy to be back in California. We've had quite an adventure since we last recorded a podcast story for you.
Yes, we did. One adventure was I got stuck at an airport. I do travel writing on the side, and I had a weekend going to Colorado without Kimberly. I had to go skiing, and I had to go mountain biking, and I had to do a bunch of fun, eat out at some really nice restaurants.
Wait. You hear that? You hear that? That's the world's smallest violin.
So, yes, I duty called, but it was fun going out. Coming back, however, I got stranded at the airport in Dallas. Couldn't get back to Memphis, which I flew out of. So instead, I went to St. Louis, which we were on our way to kind of anyway. And then Kimberly couldn't come to pick me up because of the icy roads.
We won't even talk about being stuck in the snow overnight and a 6-8 hour drive in a snowstorm to St. Louis. Anyway.
That was our adventure.
From there, we went to Indiana. We did some shows. This is after we did our shows in Germantown. We went to Indiana and did a show for the Young Authors event in Wolcott, Indiana. And then we turned right back around and headed to Oklahoma.
Owasso, Oklahoma.
Yes, and we did some shows there for the students in Owasso. And then we are running like bandits trying to get to California. We made it to California. We are doing a show day after we record this podcast. We're doing a show in Irvine. We'll be in the Southern California area for a while doing some school programs, and then we'll be in Northern California.
So we've gone coast to coast within the last few weeks.
Right, and stay tuned, and I'll tell you about those shows, and you can have a chance to see us live on stage and some libraries coming up in Northern California in April. So I'll let you know about those as soon as we tell you the story and have some fun.
Yes, now we're coming up on April, which is Humor Month. Of course, we have April Fool's Day. Also, April 19th is Humorous Day.
Is it named because of the humerus in your arm or because of being humorous?
Maybe both. I don't know. But no, it's humorous being funny.
That was funny, wasn't it? You see how I use humorous there?
You use humorous in a humorous way.
Do you know what your humorous is?
You use it in a punny way.
I did.
Okay. So we have a story about laughing.
This story is The Princess Who Couldn't Laugh, a story from Norway.
Once upon a time, in Norway, there lived a Norwegian king who had a Norwegian daughter, and she was a very fine daughter, kind and caring, who fed the poor and took care of injured birds. Or maybe she fed the birds and took care of the injured poor. Anyway, she was a perfect daughter in every way.
Goody for me.
Except for one little thing.
Uh-oh.
She never laughed.
Never?
She couldn't. She couldn't laugh, or chuckle, or snicker, or giggle, or guffaw, or chortle, or titter, or grin, or even crack a smile. The king's jester would tell all his best jokes, and none of them worked.
And so, the third farmer... okay, so the third farmer said... I don't know. It wasn't here yesterday. Yeah, whatever.
Finally, the king decided that something had to be done. I'll have the royal herald make a royal announcement.
Hear ye, hear ye. By order of the king, whoever shall be able to make the royal Norwegian princess laugh, chuckle, snicker, guffaw, chortle, titter, grin, or crack a smile, shall have all the gold he can carry. Right. Shall have all the gold he can carry in one hand. Good luck, one and all. You're gonna need it. And so, from all over the kingdom, people came to try their luck at making the princess laugh. And one by one, they all failed. Now, it happened that in this kingdom, out in the countryside, too far away from the palace even to have a zip code, lived 3 brothers, Peter, Paul, and Hans. Peter and Paul were rather mean to Hans, the youngest, and made him do all the work. One day, Peter, the oldest, said,
"Hey, Paul, guess what I heard today?"
"Besides the moss growing?"
"I heard that the king is offering a reward to anyone who can make his daughter laugh."
"Really? How'd you hear that?"
"Some of the mockingjays around here do really good impressions of the royal herald. Look, I'm going to the palace to make some faces and silly noises. Clear out a space for all the gold I'm going to bring back."
Yes, Peter was very good at making funny faces. He could almost turn his face inside out and tie it into knots. His faces always made people laugh, if they didn't retch instead. But when he tried it on the princess... Ho-hum.
After that, Peter wasn't exactly laughing himself. He went back home to his brothers and told them what happened, and the second oldest brother, Paul, who was also the second youngest, said,
"Okay, looks like you blew it. Now it's my turn. I'm absolutely certain that I can make her laugh with my animal imitations. Nobody's ever been able to resist yet."
So he made his way to the palace, and he appeared before the princess. He imitated a monkey and a chicken and a dog and a giraffe and a goat. A goat with an identity crisis. But even after all of that...
Okay, when does the real show start?
So then Paul imitated a dog going home with its tail tucked under its legs. And he told his brothers what happened. "I guess it's up to me. I should go see if I can make the princess laugh." "You? That's a laugh."
All you know how to do is make candles. What makes you think you can succeed where we failed?
"I don't know. Maybe it was that story I heard about the girl and the glass dipper."
I think you mean slipper.
"Yes, one or the other." "All right. You go ahead to the palace and try if you must. Just don't be surprised if everyone laughs at you. Everyone except the princess, that is."
Just don't be gone too long. You make all of our candles. So if you're gone too long, we'll have to sit in the dark. So Hans went to the palace as well. In fact, he went even better, because he didn't go immediately to audition for the princess. First, he wanted to look around and do some spying. Maybe find out what had already been tried to make the princess laugh. So he went to the royal kitchen, and he asked the royal cook,
"Excuse me, Mum, but I'm working for looks. That is, I'm looking for work. Do you have any jobs I could do?"
"Why, yes, it just so happens that I could use a boy who's not too bright or ambitious to haul firewood and water."
"I could do that."
"Just be careful, and don't fall down and break your crown. That last boy Jack did. Oh, I don't know what he's thinking." So he took the bucket down to the well and scooped it full of water. But then he looked into the bucket and saw something rather unusual.
"Well, hello there, Mr. Fish. I never expected to see you in here. How did you get in the well, anyway? That's really rather disgusting when you think about it."
Just then, along came a rather strange woman carrying a goose. "Hello there, young fellow. Why are you talking to that bucket?"
I'm not. I'm talking to the fish in the bucket."
"Oh, well, that's different. I guess that's not nearly as strange as talking to a bucket. Of course, I guess I'm not one to talk about strange when I go around carrying a goose. Could I take a look at the fish?"
"Oh, of course. Here you go."
"Oh, my. That is a very strange-looking fish indeed. Oh, I'd like to have a fish like that. Oh, say, could I trade you this goose for it? Oh, you could talk to it, too, and it will understand just as much as the fish does."
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I forgot to mention that it's a magic goose. If someone touches it and you say, "If you would come along, then hold on," then that person can't let go of the goose or anyone who's touching it. It's sort of a goose magnet.
Really? That's a very interesting power the goose has.
Interesting, but not very profitable. My sister got the one that lays golden eggs, and my mother got one that recites nursery rhymes, but I'm stuck with this one, literally.
Very well, I'll trade. Here's your fish.
So Hans took the goose and headed back toward the palace. Along the way, he passed a seamstress. "My, what a splendid goose you have there. May I pet it?"
Yes, of course.
"Oh, what lovely soft feathers it has. Oh, it would make a very good pillow. Sorry, a professional habit."
Hans remembered what the woman said who had given him the goose, and he couldn't resist trying it. If you would come along, then hold on."
Hey, what's this? Oh, I can't let go.
Wow, it actually worked.
But
Come along to the palace.
But how? So Hans continued to the palace, with the seamstress holding on to the goose. And then along came a man.
Hey, seamstress, that coat you sold me last week fell apart as soon as I got it home. You cheated me. You deserve a good swift kick.
So the man gave her a good swift kick. But just as he did, Hans said,
"If you would come along, then hold on." "Hey, what gives? My foot is stuck to you." "So it is. Come along, let's go to the palace."
So Hans continued to the palace, with the seamstress stuck to the goose, and the man's foot stuck on her, while he hopped on the other foot. Soon they passed a blacksmith.
Wow, that's rich. I haven't seen a sight like this in, never. Hey, with that fellow hopping on one foot is the guy who gave me a hard time about those horseshoes I made for him. It would be funny if I just took my tongs and grabbed him by the seat of the pants. Yes, it would.
So the blacksmith got his tongs and grabbed the man by the seat of the pants. But Hans saw him do it.
"If you would come along, then hang on." Hey, the seat of your pants grabbed my tongs and won't let go. Give them back to me. Let's go to the palace, one and all.
And Hans continued toward the palace with the seamstress stuck to the goose, and the man's foot stuck on her while he hopped on the other foot, and the blacksmith with his tongs stuck to the seat of the man's pants. And as they approached the palace, the cook saw them. "What on earth? No wonder that boy is so late in bringing back a bucket of water. He's busy playing with all those other people. Oh, the blacksmith is there. He must have caused all this. He's always playing tricks. Wait till I get my hands or my long wooden spoon on him."
So the cook went out with her long wooden spoon and whacked the blacksmith on the head with it. "If you would come along, then hang on."
"Hey, give me back my spoon. Well, we certainly don't want your hair in the soup."
But Hans continued walking around in the courtyard, leading his curious little parade with the seamstress stuck to the goose, and the man's foot stuck on her while he hopped on the other foot, and the blacksmith's tongs stuck to the seat of the man's pants, and the cook's long wooden spoon stuck to the blacksmith's head. They paraded around and attracted such a crowd that caused such a commotion that the princess heard it and looked out her window. And when she saw Hans carrying the pail of water and the goose, with the seamstress stuck on the goose and the man's foot stuck on her while he hopped around on the other foot, and the blacksmith's tongs stuck on the seat of the man's pants and the cook's long wooden spoon stuck on the blacksmith's head, then she burst out laughing. She laughed as she had never laughed before, which goes without saying, I suppose. The king heard her laugh and came running. Here, what's all the ruckus? Oh my! Is that really my daughter laughing? Or is someone a ventriloquist? Please tell me, daughter, what is it that made you finally laugh like this?
Oh, it's that boy leading the parade. Oh, I've never seen anything so comical in my life.
Why, yes, it is a rather comical little parade, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know about that. But that boy has the silliest expression on his face I've ever seen.
Then we must bring that boy here and give him the reward.
So the king gave Hans some gold. In fact, the princess laughed so much that the king gave him all the gold he could carry in both hands and all of his pockets. But from what I hear, the gold still stayed in the family because Hans and the princess got married and lived happily ever after.
And that's the story of the princess who couldn't laugh from Norway.
Yay!
And she finally did laugh. And then they had trouble stopping her laughing.
Oh, she had fun after that, didn't she?
Yes, there's also a story about the girl who couldn't cry.
Really?
Yes.
Is it also from Norway?
I don't recall. I think it is from that region, yes. Well, of course, there are always different variations of stories in different countries.
Right. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Great. Well, that was a fun story. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any story requests, stories that you would like to hear us activate on our podcast, you can always give us a call at 800-429-6576, and we will see what we can do.
And we have some shows coming up. As we mentioned, we will be in Los Angeles for a couple of weeks. Yes.
Couple of weeks, right. And then we're going to be heading towards the San Francisco Bay Area and Stockton, Modesto, Sacramento, that area. Before I tell you about those shows, though, I do want to point out, if you are interested in having us come to your school next year, we're currently submitting applications for grants for Target, and the grants will help pay for us to come to your school or to your library and to do some shows and workshops and have some theater. So if you're interested in that, please get a hold of us. You can leave me a message on the voicemail. That's 800-429-6576, or you can email us. And the email is activatedstorytheater, that's THEATRE for theater, at gmail.com. So coming up, we have shows at the Rose Garden Library on April 8th, and that's in San Jose, and that is one of the programs that's sponsored by Target.
Yes.
We also have a program coming up on April 23rd at the San Leandro Library.
Yes, and we'll be doing another podcast before then, but we can give you some advance heads up here.
Well,
and then the next day, the 24th, we're back at the Belvedere Tiburon Library in Tiburon, strangely enough.
Right, and that will be an after-school show. I know the San Leandro Library is an evening program. And then in May, we have a couple shows coming up at the Riverside Library and the Modesto Library, and those are on May 7th. So watch for us. Come visit our website, activatedstorytheater.com, and you will find more stories to read. You'll find out when we're going to be performing at a location near you, and you can contact us and let us know what stories you'd like to hear.
And until next time, stay activated.
And stay silly.
Activated Story Theater is committed to bringing fun, educational shows to schools and libraries nationwide. On stage, we use physical comedy, American Sign Language, imaginative props, and a giant, oversized book to bring multicultural folktales to life. For booking information, check out our website, activatedstorytheater.com, where you can also find out when the activated actors will be performing near you. Read a story, or order one of our audio CDs. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or listen on Stitcher. We look forward to your comments and folktale suggestions. Stay activated. Until next time.